when I was signing up for this, like even my husband was like, you could just, he goes, I don't care if you lose a pound. He goes, and he asked the lady when he actually met with somebody beforehand.
Yes.
And he asked them, he's like, will this program be successful if my wife doesn't lose any weight? And she looked at him, she goes, absolutely, it could be successful. And he goes, that's all I wanted to hear.
Everybody, this is Tiffany, and I'm so excited. I think I'm the most excited for this conversation because I've heard bits and pieces, but I can't wait to hear everything that you have to say today. So if you can introduce yourself to everyone that's watching, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I'm Tiffany Krogh. I have 2 kids, a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old. And I was a college basketball player, and then I played a little bit professionally before I had kids.
So awesome, by the way.
Thanks.
All right. Where were you? How are you feeling? Paint a picture for everybody that's watching this video of what made you want to reach out. Where were you in life? How are things going?
So I was living my life saying, when I get to this point, I'll be happy, right? And it was always this number that I had to reach to get there. And I was never happy because I was never living in the moment. So for me, I was just always struggling with how I looked, if I was overweight or if I looked bad in my shirt or whatever it might be, but it controlled every aspect of my life. I mean, I didn't even want to leave the house sometimes when I was feeling certain ways. And then other times I would be with my husband and I wouldn't want to take my shirt off. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. And it was just, it's really scared me when I had a daughter because I don't want to pass that on to her, because that's the last thing I want her to have to deal with. But she's going to learn it from me if I don't change that. So that's kind of, I've done all the programs. I did bigger competitions after college basketball. I did a lot of stuff. So I've been like really shredded, and I've been, gained 60 pounds with my pregnancies. So I've kind of been all over the place. But I know where I was like the happiest, but even then I was never content.
Isn't that interesting?
It is.
It's so interesting. We've had people say, I've been say weight. And again, because you've been through what we do, it's not about the weight for us. Like that's not what we care about. For us, it's an added benefit. And I think it's an awesome added benefit. But we've had people say, oh, I used to, be at my goal weight, but I wasn't actually happy. I'm on my way there. I'm not there yet, but I feel happier now than.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's such an interesting, when you said that, it made me think of that.
Feel more comfortable in your skin at that goal weight. You're still not satisfied because something inside is missing, right? Something is missing from that because you're finding your identity in something that's not obtainable, really.
Yes.
Yeah.
So hard for us to explain this to people. Most people come in, not most. We have people that come in and start at all different points and for different reasons, but a lot of it is weight loss.
Yeah.
That's majority of people are like, hey, I want to lose weight. And then they'll go, oh, I had no idea what else I would get. Because really all they were looking for was that one piece, but it matters how we feel. It matters how we think. All of it matters.
Yeah. And for me, I saw the mental side of it when I saw like the advertisement for it. And that's what really got me kind of like, I struggled with anorexia. Like I've had eating disorders. So for me, it was just like, if I can control this mental, I've prayed, I've begged, I've done everything possible and it's never gone away. Right. And so I'm like, if I can invest into this and it works, then great. And then of course, like when I signed up, I was like, okay, but really, I really wanted to lose 40 pounds, right? You know what I mean? Like I saw the mental side and I was like, that's what I need, but what I want is the 40 pounds, right? And then everything kind of shifted after the first month of the program.
Yeah. So will you walk us through, okay, did you see us on Facebook? Is that?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you saw us on Facebook. Will you walk everyone listening through your journey, talk about that first month and just kind of maybe some aha moments, just so people can get an idea. I say all the time, I don't know how to explain what we do. When people say mindset, they'll go, I don't get it. Now you're an athlete, so you probably clicks a little bit more, but people ask us all the time, like, what do you mean? And this is why we tell people stories. I'm like, listen to their stories, and this is what we mean. So will you kind of walk everyone through your journey for the last 16 weeks?
Yeah. So the first month, I dove right into it, right? Like, I'm going to follow because I'm all or nothing, right? That's my mentality. So I dove right in. I was like, okay, I'm going to follow the food list, and, I'm boom, boom, boom. And I was making sure I did all of, like, the homework. I call it homework, assignments, which is really what I needed the most, right? But even in the first month, and I told Alana this too, which is embarrassing, but I'm in the first month of the program. I was talking about how, like, just trust the process, and it's not supposed to be instant results, right? But I'm, an American who wants everything right now. So I ordered some weight loss pills, and like this first month, right? And I'm like, I know it doesn't work. I've done it a million times, but I still did it. And then after that month, I was like, everything kind of shifted. And we found the, I guess, traumatic experience in my life. And not that everybody has a trauma that happened that caused this or caused what their mindset is. But for me, there was a situation that caused it. And just being in the public eye and being an all-American athlete, like, I had a lot of that pressure, I guess. Mm-hmm. And from one of these experiences that did not go well, it changed everything. And that's really when I never struggled with my identity or my body before. And that's when everything changed. And so I was 20 years old at that point, right? So since I've been 20 years old and I'm 36, I've been struggling with this. So 16 years, yeah. And so when we figured that out, when I was doing the work, and it's funny, I'm writing all this stuff down and I send it to Alana to, like, have her check over it, right? And she's like, oh my gosh, okay, we're going to have a conversation. We're going to talk. I'm going to call you. We're going to have a conversation, right? And so when she called, she starts talking, and she's like, this was your trigger. And it didn't even register with me until she pointed it out. That's like one of those things, like, you can do the work, but unless you have somebody to work through it with, you might not get every part, you know what I mean? And then I was like, oh my gosh, that is when it all changed. And I didn't even think of it. I always thought, like, oh, I stopped playing basketball, so I wanted to, find my identity. But that wasn't it. So I think that was the biggest moment for me, like, oh my goodness, okay, so now how do I change that story? How do I, really reframe my mindset? Because 16 years is a lot of work to retrain, right? Oh, hi, bud. I told you. I'll be done in a minute. Okay, can you go out there on the couch? I love you. Can you shut the door? Thank you. Sorry.
These are my favorite moments because I'm like, I just said, I was talking to someone else and I was like, we don't do things curated. This is real. Like, I love it when kids come in or all of a sudden a dog will bark. Yeah, totally.
Say hi, Mom.
Totally.
And you have the conversations first, like, don't bother me for like 15 minutes, like, and they still come.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So, but
okay,
yeah,
wait.
That was the biggest thing. And then I guess just, like, constantly, even the calls, hearing people and, like, what they're going through, because there's, like, slip ups you're going to have, right? And so for me, it's like, oh, I had a candy bar, so I'm going to have 12 cupcakes too, right? Oh, that's not how you do things. But that was actually the easiest thing for me to change, which I thought it would be the hardest. Just from hearing how you can do it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And then the one thing I would say about the first part of the program for me is I didn't lose. I lost 3 pounds the first half. Mm-hmm. And it was my own fault, but here's why. I followed the food list, but I love peanut butter. So I was probably eating 1,600 calories a day from peanut butter, right? So I'm following the list. What's going on? Why am I not losing weight? Well, Tiffany, you still can't eat. Your body's waiting peanut butter, So, but it was good because if I would have lost the weight right away, I would have been focused on the weight and that part of the journey instead of the mental part of the journey. And it was almost a godsend, to be honest.
And it's also a good, it's why it doesn't happen overnight. There are things we have to focus on. We use the analogy of a car, right? If you're speeding 100 miles an hour in the wrong direction, right? If we're going somewhere where we're not happy, there's something missing, we're not going in the exact direction we want to go to. It's not like we just turn the car around because you'll wreck your car. Yeah. It'll turn into a fiery crash. You have to first slow the car down. And some people slow their car down quickly. Some people take longer. Everyone's on their own journey. There is no, where are you supposed to be? I don't know. Everyone's on their own journey.
Yeah.
And for you, that was what you needed. Cause like you said, if you would have, then the whole focus would have been on that number.
It would have. And that's how I've always done. Like through all these, I've done a bunch of programs. Like I'm even certified in nutrition. Like I know things, but it's not about information. It's not. It's about emotion, and it's about experience, and it's about support. And I think if I'm describing the program, that's what I got through this. Not only information, but support through the information, which is huge.
Yeah. I mean, amen on that. People think, gathering information is the act of doing something, because it's like almost like it makes you feel good. It's like dopamine hit, like I'm learning, but you can learn forever and then not do anything. And what's the point of learning if we're not going to apply it? But oftentimes we don't know how. I'll be the first to say when I got out of my depression and then started building, I didn't know how to do that by myself. I knew I needed to do something, but I didn't know how. So, and you're an athlete, so you get it, like the coach, even, LeBron, and I'm from Akron, so that's the one I easily think of. Even LeBron has everyone has coaches, because you have this vision or an idea, like you said, the information. It doesn't mean just because you know it, you're going to pick it up and just go do it. So,
and a lot of people don't have the support when it comes to the emotional aspect. So like you can have a personal trainer who has all the information, right? But when I say mindset work, like you're making me dig deep, right? I'm learning things about myself that maybe I didn't want to touch on, maybe I didn't want to know. But how am I going to fix that, or how am I going to improve on that if I don't? So even if I would do some mindset work on my own without having somebody to challenge me, it's hard to actually obtain anything. So for me, I think that was the biggest part. And when I was signing up for this, like even my husband was like, you could just, he goes, I don't care if you lose a pound. He goes, and he asked the lady when he actually met with somebody beforehand.
Yes.
And he asked them, he's like, will this program be successful if my wife doesn't lose any weight? And she looked at him, she goes, absolutely, it could be successful. And he goes, that's all I wanted to hear. Because he didn't want it focused on the weight. Because he's seen me at my best, and he's seen me, pregnant, right? And he's happy with how I look now. He wants me to be happy with that. So
how awesome is that, by the way?
Yeah, I have an amazing husband. Yeah, for sure. Support is always.
Oh, it's incredible.
Yeah. And
for even him to think of that question means he's clearly looking past, like he's looking long-term. Yeah. That's what it is. And that's what we want at the end of the day. Like you were talking about identity. It's not about doing the things. It's about being the person. That's how I look at it. Like, how can we be the person who does the things, because that's who we are.
Yep.
But regardless,
fun, right?
What?
And it's not just for I feel like before it was so superficial, I guess. And it can be, you can want to look great. That is fine. I'm that person. That's why I was wanting that. Right. But I wanted to get to the point where it wasn't superficial anymore. Like, can this be about health? Can this be about happiness? Can this be about joy, regardless of my circumstance? And that's what is kind of what I took away. That's been great for me.
You know what I love that you just said, though? Because I think sometimes women and moms have this hang up of, I have to have one or the other. Oh, if I want to look good, it means it's like, that's a negative. No, like we can want to look good and we can be happy.
Yep.
And that's what it's oftentimes we think we have to choose. Like we have to be miserable to look good, where it's like, actually there can be a really awesome journey. And then you can be really stoked about, putting on a shirt and saying, hey, I'm going to go out tonight with my husband, or I'm going to go to this work function or this party or whatever. I think sometimes we think it has to be one or the other. We have to choose. Yeah. And I love that you just said, like, it's great. Yeah. I like it when I feel confident in my clothes. 100%. Absolutely.
But I would also like it if my shirt was a little tight and I still felt confident.
Exactly.
That's what I was missing.
Yes.
That's what I was looking for.
Exactly. Oh my gosh.
I came into this program honestly not expecting it to work, because like I said, I have prayed on this for years. And it wasn't like, I'm like, oh, you guys are not going to help me. That's not what I was thinking. I was just thinking my head is so like, when I say it controlled every aspect of my life, I mean, my parents dealt with it. My husband dealt with it daily. Like, it was one of those things that I tried to hide it from my kids because like I said, I don't want to put that on them. But when you're in your mind like that every day, it's almost like you're not living. You're going through life miserable because of something that in I like what I wanted was not really attainable, right? I'm not going to have a figure competitor's body year round, right? So for me, it was like shifting that to like reality versus like what you see on magazines, right? Like you have to be, and I wasn't getting that.
And now you feel
now, yeah, I have been the happiest since halfway through the program was when I shift because when I figured out the calories, I started counting the calories of the first half and I was like, holy crap, I'm like killing the peanut butter, right? So the second half, and I think I ended up losing 17 pounds, which is great. I'm healthy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, do I want to lose more? Absolutely. Will I do it? Probably. It'll take time. Like, you know what I mean? And I'm not rushing it because, like you said, like I want it to be a process where it's not miserable for me. I'm not an athlete anymore. If I was, yeah, I'd be on a strict diet and following lots of different things. But I'm not. Like, I'm a stay-at-home mom who has two little rugrats running around. Like, it's just not obtainable for me to work out 6 hours a day. So, even though I love working out,
do curls with each of them. No, just kidding. And that's the thing. You don't have to work out 6 hours a day. And 17 pounds is incredible.
And it is. It really, like I said, when I signed up, I was like, oh yeah, 40 pounds. Like, I had this mindset, but it's like when that shifted, it's like a weight left me, like not body weight, but an actual weight where I was just like, I'm going to my small group at church and the girls in my small group are like, I've never seen you like this before, because every week I'm like, what's your prayer request? To please lose weight. Like, you know what I mean? Like, to stop struggling. And they're just like, this is amazing. And at that point, I hadn't lost like I lost 3 pounds. So it wasn't when I lost 17 pounds. It was like at the beginning, which was great. Yeah.
Which is, it's amazing. We try and explain to moms, they're like, I don't get it. How's my mindset going to help me lose weight? Again, something tangible. People can, hold on to it. Whoever's watching this is a true story. Like, I'll put out an email and talk about this amazing story, just like this one. It's just like about mental and all this awesome, or I'll say, here's a revelation I had. It's all mental, and it'll all get like crickets. And if I just go, anyone want to lose 40 pounds? I'll have like 800 emails. It blows my mind.
Yeah. It's crazy because I didn't realize like what you've come across with from what you've went through is amazing because you're sharing it. So you did this mindset work, right, with different therapists and people along the way to get through your depression or whatever. And my struggles were different, but it was very similar in regards to depression and body image and all that. It all ties together, right? So yep. I think it's just amazing. Like, when I heard your story, I didn't think like, oh yeah, that's going to help me. No, because it's hard until you make it personal, right? Until it happens to you, it's hard to understand. But I just wish people could see me before and then now. Like, if they could just get into your mind and see how life was through your eyes before it happened and then after, then they would understand. But it's kind of hard to do that, right?
It's so hard. It's why I want to share these stories, because people will say, I don't get it. How is mindset going to help me again? What is this mindset thing? Wait, you work on mindset. What is that? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I need everyone to share their story so they get the gist of what the journey will be like. But it's really difficult to articulate. Yeah. It's like a light switch goes off, because everything you do, the whole program is built off of what I did.
What you did, yeah.
Yeah. And I just wanted to share it, knowing that no matter where anybody starts, my whole thought process when I started it was, if someone's not feeling like themselves, or they're feeling like they're missing something, or they're feeling like the confidence is low, that's the good way to put it. Regardless of what the reason is, but that's that feeling, that feeling that you have, it's got to be able to help. I won't say everybody, because I don't think everything's for everybody. But it's got to be able to help a lot of people, a ton of people.
And it's just, that's the thing. It's the variety that I do think it could help everybody, unless you're not struggling with anything in your life, right? So I mean, like, if you have no struggles and you have the perfect life, yes, this is not for you. You know what I mean? But I think all of us have something that needs, and it might not be weight related, it might be confidence or whatever it might be. And mine could be something that not a lot of people struggle with. But I think with women, I think a lot of people do struggle with, you know, body image and identity, and they put that on what they look like, right?
Yeah.
So I think it will hit a lot of people with this message, but it could be anything. And there could be a 400-pound woman or a 120-pound woman. It doesn't matter. It's how she sees herself.
Exactly. I'm like, it's not about the number.
Yeah,
Someone could be.
That's crazy
Yeah.
to me. Like,
Yeah.
I see people who are tiny, like, oh yeah, I have anorexia. I'm like, you're 104 pounds. What do you mean? You know, but it doesn't matter what I see. It
Nope.
matters what she sees, right? And it took me a while to understand that.
That like nailed it. I almost want to just drop my mic, but literally it's not about the number. Someone could be at that number and feel freaking awesome. Someone could be on that number and feel not awesome. It's not about that. It's how can we feel that, we say calm the chaos just inside to go, I'm good. Everything's good.
Yep.
It's
Yeah,
nailed it.
The moment.
Yes.
I think the first podcast you had us listen to was my favorite. And I went back and listened to it the other day, but it's just the way you're living. And even if you're living in a great way, like, man, there's so much more that I'm just like not experiencing because I'm not willing to like actually be in the moment, right? And like, especially with my kids, like they're growing so fast. Like I gotta treasure this time with them,
And again, all those podcasts that I put in, the ones I put at the beginning were the ones that they're what I listened to. I'm so glad. It makes me so happy when people are.
Yeah.
I feel like I can understand your journey because I'm like, I know exactly what you're talking about and have that moment. The
aha moment.
The aha moment. All right, really quick. And I'm actually laughing. Someone might jump in the waiting room here. Really quickly before we wrap up, if someone were on the fence, which I know you had mentioned to me that you were a little unsure too.
Yeah.
What would you let someone know? What would you say to someone who is on the fence?
Well, what I addressed, because my husband was the one that really was like kind of hesitant. What I said to him was like, well, is it worth the money if I end this program and this is no longer a struggle of mine? And so if somebody's on the fence, I'm like, let's not say like, oh, should I do it? What if I do it and get the results that I want? And it might not be the physical, right? And like that's what I kind of like said to him. I was like, will it be worth it, babe, if I do this and I no longer cry to you at night and I no longer want to keep my sweatshirt on when you want to touch me? Like, would that be worth it to you? And he was just like, anything. I would pay anything for that to happen. I was like, well, then let's try it. Because every other program that I've tried doesn't offer this side of it, right? And I can go see therapists, right? But then they don't offer the other side of the journey, right? So it's hand in hand, right? The physical and the mental, right? And even though one or the other, you might be a personal trainer, which I am. You know what I mean? Like you might have all the knowledge, and sometimes it's not about that. It's about the support and people who have been through it and seen results, right? So I would say, what if you're able to get everything you wanted as far as to feel the way you want to feel? That's what I would say to them.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Thanks for hopping on. And I know we talked at the very beginning. I none of these questions, I don't know what anyone's going to say. So it makes me so happy just to see people. At the end of the day, it's about your life, right? It's not about one aspect of your life, like a physical. It's literally about your life and being able to show up how you want to. And it just makes me so happy. So thanks for sharing your story.
Thank you for everything. I really enjoyed the program.
Oh, thanks. All right. I'm going to stop it, but don't go anywhere.
Okay.